When you think things can't get any crazier, wait to hear what the school system, the public school system, one of the biggest unions, just said who is actually helping them write their educational doctrine based on what they teach your children. This will blow your mind because you thought this was done. It's not done. We're going to discuss who Randy Weingarten said is helping write their papers, their doctrine, their theology when it comes to school systems. It's pretty mind-boggling. Also, we're going to talk about what Elon Musk said about AI. This is where you get to that thing like yesterday, how we talked about it. There's almost cultish things being said about Epstein. Listen to what Elon said about AI. It goes along with what a Hollywood director just stated. We're getting into a time where it's not left versus right. It's not, rich versus poor. It's truly good versus evil. Good versus evil. We're going to discuss what Elon said and what this Hollywood director said because they go both hand in hand with the discussions, with the files, the list, whatever you want to call it. What we discussed yesterday. It is mind-blowing. We're also going to discuss Dan Bongino. It's been going across, went viral. Something shook him to his bones. Well, there's a minister that said the same thing. He said, you're getting to a point now where, again, the good versus evil is happening right before us. The question is, are you going to stay on the side of good or evil? Again, it's not a left versus right. It's not a, poor versus wealth. It's truly good versus evil. Prime example, our friend Mandani, the communist that's going to be really over the mayorship for New York City. It's amazing. He flies back on a situation that's very, very secretive to go get married in a several-day event in Uganda. We're going to talk about some of the protection he had, some of the safety he had. We're also going to talk about how he had censorship to where you didn't know what was going on. And then lastly, we're going to discuss shutdowns. August 9th, liberals and leftists are trying to shut down all economies, shut down all movement of goods. They want to boycott America on August 9th because of the travesty of what America believes in. American prosperity, America first. They want to shut it down because that is wrong. So what's going to happen on August 9th? I don't think really much of anything. But to be honest with you, it's actually got some retailers talking about it. The question is it going to make a difference? August 9th, liberals are trying to push people to not buy. So I challenge you to go buy. Let's dive into these stories today. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. We are humbled by your support, and we hope that something today that we talk about will help you and hopefully give you common sense and wisdom as you seek guidance to raise your family and to, again, navigate yourself in this crazy world that we live in. Now, a few stories today. All of these tend to be a little on the just good versus evil side. And this is a Sunday, so most of all, I hope you're in church. But a lot of these stories deal with how we personify what we're learning in our world. Are we learning culture that wants good to sustain, or we want culture that wants evil to sustain? Let's go over a few of these stories, and then we'll dive into a little bit more. But I tell you, today I've really struggled with some of these videos because you're starting to get to a point where you see why the list and files are not released. Because there's probably a principality or a cultish way behind it. It really is biblical. Listen to some of these stories, and then we'll jump into it. This is from filmmaker and stuntman Mike Smith. Mike Smith claims top-level Hollywood demands a blood sacrifice or transitioning of a child as a symbolic act of loyalty to a false god. He points, and this is where you really start, you're like, oh, that's fake. Listen to what he says. He points to the rising number of stars with trans children, calling it a part of a dark ritual. Smith asks how many more celebrities must lose loved ones to tragic accidents before people start seeing this pattern. Hollywood is part of this cult. Now, this is the same kind of situation we were talking about yesterday with Epstein and his niece. This is very dark, and if what he's saying is true, it's a big deal. But you're starting to see the revelations there. I think of the Will Smiths, the Megan Foxes. I think of the Cynthia, whatever her name is. All these people have all these children. And with him saying this, and again, it's just like, at first when you first hear people say this kind of stuff, it almost makes you feel like they're off their rocker. You're like, come on, you're just trying to get the clicks. But then when you start looking at the kids, you start looking at these people, you start listening to, you've heard all the stories, the horrors of all these people growing up in Hollywood and how it's messed them up. I think of like Justin Bieber, how he's just kind of went off. A lot of these people cannot deal with it. And we always say it's because of the fame. It actually may be because of this kind of stuff here. This almost like possession or cultish way. This brings in another point what Elon just said. He said, AI is like summoning a demon on Earth. Think about that now. Now remember, Hollywood is one of the biggest parts that the AI is playing with dealing with movie roles and dealing with movies and acting like actors and things like that. And it says, Elon says, AI is like summoning a demon before Earth. I believe it will cause hard controls for America. So when you put that together with the danger of Hollywood, and we talked about yesterday with the niece of Epstein, a lot of this stuff is getting to where what's good and what's evil. And the play it makes you think, oh my gosh, I mean, what kind of world are we living in? We're truly living in biblical times. I want you to listen to what Dan Bongino says, and this kind of goes into some other stories we're going to bring up with our school system. But Dan Bongino says, he posted a very disturbing update. He said, what I have learned about public corruption and political weaponization has shocked me to my core today. We cannot run a republic this way. Of course, he's right. The darkest truths are now starting to come out. Now, the thing is, we don't know what he's talking about. Now, Dan was an influencer, so he knows how to get the clicks, and he understands how to make people sensationalized to want to know what he's talking about. Hopefully, it's something that we can learn one day. Not because we just want to know the dirt, it's because we need to heal the problem. When we bring it out in the light, we'll see whatever the problem may be. I love what Eric Metaxas says right here, and it's a minister, a Christian minister. He says, there's been a bomb ticking in the heart of the republic. We have to find it. We just have to. And if we don't and dismantle it, we will not be able to save the republic. If we want God to bless America, we've got to get these dangers out. I think back of all the things that we've been talking about the last few days. The darkness is there, and we've got to expose it. If it's Bongino, if it's Patel, if it's Trump, whomever it is, we need to expose the darkness, because the darkness is actually going to ruin America. I want you to listen to two things I think that represents, again, good versus evil. Listen to this. Zoran Mandani called ICE agents and mass militarization as oppression. He said they were not welcome in New York under his leadership. He wants to get rid of the prisons. He wants to shut down policing. But I want you to listen to what happened for his wedding. It's unbelievable. Inside Zoran Mamdani's posh multi-day Ugandan weapon bash, it had phone jamming, armed guards, and private militia. Now, this is the same guy who just said he don't want any of that for the people in New York, but he can have it for himself. He flew to Uganda for his own wedding bash. Didn't get married here in Uganda, which is, to me, shows that his not America first. He doesn't want to see America thrive. He wants to see Uganda thrive. Guarded by they were masked riflemen, military tents, and phone jamming systems at his millionaire family compound. It is completely private, held by militia and private guards. Is this really who you want as leader? He wants barriers down, he wants fences down, he wants walls down, he doesn't want borders, he wants openness, he doesn't want billionaires, he doesn't want all this multi-million-dollar walled-in city. And he literally did all that, every bit of it. Talking about an oxymoronic thing. And then actually did it in Uganda so he could be kept away from maybe the paparazzi on it. Good versus evil. I want you to listen to this. This is even scary, and this is why you got to get your kids. Get your kids out of school. Listen to this. Randy Weingarten just announced a partnership with the World Economic Forum to help create a school curriculum. So we're now going to use the partnership to do public schools and the unions, the teachers' unions that Randy Weingarten's opened, the biggest teachers' union in America that's over the public schools, is now working to build and create a curriculum for the World Economic Forum. Now you're saying, well, Colby, that's not who sets policy. The Department of Education is. Well, yeah, but they have to have teachers. So the teachers union has a monster say in that. And Randy Weingarten is the boss of that. And guess what she just said? We are working to build a creative curriculum from the World Economic Forum with a partnership that can help our schools. Good versus evil. You thought you heard enough of the Klaus and Yuval Harari and the guy from Nestle who's got red eyes, kind of weird. These people will now set the curriculum for your children. So you wonder why these children are indoctrinated. You wonder why these children are growing up with with being on medicine, depressed and anxiety and anxious and stressed and not actually learning school system stuff. They're not learning education, they're learning indoctrination. Well, this is why. So we go back and say, okay, what we just realized is the cities are falling by the wayside. We see our school systems are falling by the wayside. We see Hollywood is now compromised. We see even politicians and billionaires and investors are compromised. Elon's talking about the AI is compromised. It's an evil demon that we're summoning. When you start talking about that and thinking about all that, that's a lot of evil, isn't it? But what did Eric Metaxas say? To save our republic, we've got to expose it. And then once we expose it, we have to turn from it. You know, I think back in Scripture, in 2 Chronicles 7:14, where it talks about how, you know, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and repent, and he would heal our lands, God would heal our lands. He didn't say for the demons. He didn't say for the evil ones to repent. He actually said the people who are called, the people, meaning the Christians, the people who claim to know God, if we would actually turn from the way of the world, he would heal our land. I think we're going to keep seeing storms. I think we're going to keep seeing, I mean, I'm talking physical storms, but I'm also talking spiritual storms. I think we're going to see problems. I think we'll never see our nation get out of debt. I don't think you'll ever see prosperity because we're living in a way that we're shadowing all this evil and corruption. Man, when I read that, what that Dan Bongino said about what he's been exposed to, that shook him to his bones, and then I read the stuntman and the filmmaker saying, this is why you see Hollywood turn so evil and deviant because of what they're, you know, what it costs to have power, what it costs to have prestige, what it costs to have an A-list. I always think about that now. When you think about all the big stars, it's like, what did they give up to be there? What did your politicians give up? I mean, they become soulless wonders. I believe there's a lot of control, and sadly, I don't believe a lot of control is by the Prince of Heaven and the God of all. I believe we've been impacted and influenced, like the Epstein situation, like Hollywood, like the school systems, by the Prince of the world, which in the Bible is a devil, Satan. I mean, we have some darkness we have to root out. If we want our nation healed and we want peace, we need to humble ourselves, pick up our cross daily and follow him. Now, this wasn't supposed to be like some kind of spiritual message, but to be honest with you, if we don't see the good versus evil, I'm scared America will never sit back on top. I believe we'll always see wars, we'll always see devastation, we'll always see storms, and we'll never see peace. Peace doesn't come from World Economic Forum. It doesn't come from public school system. It doesn't come from some liberal guy from Uganda that's trying to tell you, look, rules for you doesn't matter for rules for me. Hollywood's not the answer, but it is sure. It is all these things, though. Liberal ideology, politicians, education, school systems, leadership, influencing. That's all impacted us, hasn't it? Movies has impacted us, hasn't it? If we want to be shook to our core, like Dan Bongino said, if we're seeing things that are scary and shadowy and evil, the only way to fix it is to expose it and turn it for good. But if we do this, if we find it out, like if Dan Bongino found something out and he doesn't expose it, then he's helping cover it up. That's where you've got to get to the fine line. What Trump knows, what Patel knows, what Bondi knows, what whomever knows, you better let it out and you better find out. Because if you don't, it's going to eat us from within. It's almost like a virus. You know how you can, when they say it's virus in the community, it's running around, like, you know, like you have the stomach virus. Nobody wants the stomach bug. When we have church and someone's kind of got somebody here was like, I don't know if I want to go, or I don't know if that person should be there. Because guess what? It spreads quickly, doesn't it? Well, evil's the same way. If we put ourselves in darkness and evil all the time, then we're just basically going to be encapsulated by it. Think of our movie systems. Think of our TV shows. Think of all the things that we put in our hands, social media. It's time that we want good. That doesn't have a left or right leaning. That doesn't have a rich or poor leaning. It has a good versus evil leaning. What Elon said about we're summoning a demon, I'm scared that we're actually summoning a demon when it comes to AI. I believe it will rule over us to a point where I think it's very dangerous. I'm going to leave you with this. And I'm not an Andrew Yang fan, but I want you to listen to what he said about AI. And then we're going to talk briefly about the liberals pushing for this day. Andrew Yang says this: a partner of a prominent law firm told me that AI is now doing work that used to be done by first and third year associates. AI can generate a motion within an hour that might take an associate a week to do, and it works better. Someone should tell the folks to quit applying for law school degrees because AI is taking their jobs. If they can interpret law, change law, make people believe anything, then AI is summoning a demon. Last thing I want to talk about. Liberals are now shutting down for August 9th. They're planning on skipping work, skipping shopping, skipping protests. It's funny, if liberals are working, most of them are not working, most of them protest anyway, so you probably won't miss much on the work. But when it comes to shopping, protesting, I'd say they're probably not going to buy anything. They're probably going to loot everything. If this ends up being a big deal, August 9th, then here's what we should learn from it. As conservatives and people that are going to work and wanting to see America First policies, that's the day you should go shopping. Don't buy anything for the whole week and go that day. Go August 9th. Because if they're going to try to push everybody away from doing the things that so they can boycott America, this is the same party that's now got a Ugandan leader that's going to be over the biggest city in America. And he literally partied behind millionaire walls with masked people, militia, private vault for 3 or 4 days of a Ugandan marriage. And now you're just going to elect him to be your mayor in New York. Unbelievable. Guys, pay attention to, pay attention to August 9th. Buy a lot of stuff that day. I'm going to Costco and Whole Foods that day. I don't shop a lot in stores, but that day I am. But more than the August 9th thing, you better be paying attention to the good versus evil, because that's the real battle, and that's the real seriousness. If you're shaken to your core, and AI is like summoning a demon, and Hollywood is literally made up of true cultish ways, like the Epstein situation is, we have to expose it and find the good in everything. Thank you so much for watching. Take your family to church today, because boy, when you start hearing all these stories, it makes you feel grim, dark, and there's only one way to expose it in the spiritual ways: Christ. Thank you for watching, guys. God bless.